In the opening sequence of Rear Window, the audience is presented with a still shot of a 3-paned window covered with blinds. As the credits appear, each window's blind is opened. This slow reveal captures the audience's attention and creates a desire to see what will happen next. It also relates to the theme of voyeurism in the plot, displayed in Jeffrey's observation of his neighbours out of these windows. The music playing is jazz, upbeat but dislocated. There is nothing sinister or disconcerting about the music, which lulls the audience into a false sense of security. They may even believe they're about to see a romantic comedy rather than a psychological thriller. The camera angle changes, mirroring the action of a person rising out of their seat to gain a better view outside the window. The camera pans around the courtyard, allowing the audience to get a clear idea of the setting of the film. What Jeffries sees out of his window is important. The windows facing the courtyard give him insight and a view of his neighbours' lives. During the opening sequence, Hitchcock is deliberately ambiguous. The audience is led to believe that any one of the characters introduced during this sequence could be a major part of the storyline, although it is clear that Jeffries is the main character. The scene is set more fully as the shot moves indoors, taking in the thermometer. It's hot. This is important information, as in 1954 air conditioning in homes was rare and people opened their window to let in a cool breeze. The open windows in the surrounding apartments enabled Jeffries access to see what his neighbours were doing. As the camera slowly pans around the interior of Jeffrey's apartment, the audience has time to see things clearly and to form the backstory for themselves. There's no dialogue in the opening sequence, yet we learn a lot simply from the mise-en-scène, consisting of close-ups of objects in the apartment. These next few seconds give context to the narrative and establish the character of Jeffries. He has been injured while working as a photographer. He takes photos of car races and models. He has a photographic negative of a beautiful woman in his apartment, and she also appears on the cover of a fashion magazine. This establishes that the glamorous model is in a relationship with Jeffries. The story of their changing relationship is told throughout the film and resolves in the closing sequence. Jeffries' name is written on his cast, and we see that he is wheelchair-bound, trapped in his apartment during a hot summer. This is important for the development of the narrative because his boredom during his recovery is what causes him to spy on his neighbours, and this leads him to believe foul play has taken place in the apartment across the courtyard. We see what Jeffrey sees every day as he would see it and from his point of view. The objects of importance have been drawn to our attention, and we have a backstory to explain his current circumstances. The opening sequence ends on a mid-shot of Jeffries taking a phone call. This places him in the apartment. The closing sequence refers the audience back to the opening sequence, with Jeffries asleep in his wheelchair by the window. Using the camera technique of panning, giving us a view of Lisa and Jeffries in their surroundings, a mid-length shot of Jeffries revealing his double cast, and a close-up of Lisa wearing a pair of pants rather than a haute couture ensemble. Hitchcock reveals the conclusion to the storyline. Both characters being framed by the window frame infers that they seem to be more settled in each other's company. No longer engaged in what is happening outside, the relationship between them has been resolved. Lisa has Jeffries as a captive audience, and he seems content to have her physically present. Through mise-en-scène, we see Lisa's choice of reading material and Geoffrey's double cast, both of them together in the same shot. An element of comedy introduced at this time when the irony of Geoffrey's injury and Lisa's choice of reading material is shown. Lisa, seemingly, has changed from cover girl to travelling companion, while Geoffrey's is confined to the apartment once again, his adventurous ways tamed for now. The characters appear to have come to an arrangement that is mutually suitable. The mystery has been solved, and life for the characters outside the windows has returned to normal. Now, some questions. Explain how mise-en-scène and point of view create audience expectations in the opening sequence. And name 2 production elements that Hitchcock employs in the closing sequence to signal that the narrative has resolved. Then explain how they fulfill that function.